So hi everyone, today in this video we're gonna develop another mental model that can be useful for you, since mental models are representations about how the reality works, and as much more you grasp them, higher is the probability of you getting what you want. But then, so why is important the mental models for decision making? I already kinda got, or I expect that you have got that decision making is probably the most important skill that you can have in order to get prosperity, because decision making is like it kind of got the ability to make interpretations about the reality that you're stuck in and understand it so by what's the reality that you want, what is so the best actions that you can take to get so the objectives that you want to get. And then so obviously for that you kind of have to get specific knowledge about how the reality works, like patterns that they can, so if you get it you can so understand how they're so if they're so about to get applied in the future. And then obviously if you got from the past these patterns, you already so have got where there's what was so the final outcomes of them or from that patterns, and then so you can better prepare for the future. It's like decision making is requires you to have the ability to predict a bit the future. Is you are in a position that because you have more type of informations about reality, because you have more truthful beliefs, or because you have better type of systems to think, you're so gonna be someone that's gonna always constantly better how to put that can be predictions, that can be so actions, and then so it's what justifies you getting more information, getting more frameworks. And for that you require mental models because they're so patterns that you take from the reality. And then so with that justified, what's going to be the mental model that we're going to talk today? The pattern that we've seen is the Goodhart's law. It's an economic mental model. When metrics become targets, they become lies. It's a statement that can be so attached to this mental model. But then so what's the core idea of this mental model? It was formulated by economist Charles Goodhart, and this law states when a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. This could be say like in other words, when we obsessively like focus on single metric, can be like the GDP, can be quarterly profits or productivity KPI indicators, we distort behavior and destroy the very value the metric was meant to represent. But then how it works? So first, incentive gaming. What is about incentive gaming to explain this type of Goodhart's law? People or organizations optimize to hit the target rather than solve the real problem. So it's basically focusing in things that are not the main type of problem that we should be facing. And the reality is that these type of smaller things, these kind point indicators, metrics, they were created with the objective that we're not making it so and justifying their creations. We even are performing worse by so adopting these type of metrics and following them obsessively instead of focusing on what's the real value of getting attention to them. And then incentive gaming, as I said, people in organization optimize to hit the targets. So they have to become too much attached to kind of getting a specific GDP, a specific quarterly profit, or a specific level of K point indicators of the productivity. Example that I can give it to you is hospitals pressured to reduce wait times may discharge patients prematurely, leading to higher readmission rates. CEO has focusing in one specific metric that's important to understand the performance of hospital. That is so the time that made the charge, so the time that so but is a waiting time is a key point indicator that we get a lot of attention in hospitals. But what is the main value of hospital? Is providing value for the people in healthcare. By focusing in one suboptimal KPI indicator, it's obviously important, that is the wait times, I put too much attention in that specific KPI indicator and forgot what is so the main one that I should focus, that is so treating the patients and not so make them not improve from the diseases that they can get. Another example, data corruption. Metrics get manipulated until they lose connection to reality. What's an example from that? Teachers teach to the test to boost school ratings while actual learning stagnates. See one specific metric that's useful and ask their value. So to understand the performance of a specific institution, person, group, see how they're manipulated to seem good, because obviously if the metric is higher, we tend to have this type of image that so the school is higher in quality as well, but in so how they manipulate to kind of overfitting their type of teaching. But obviously if we overfitting something towards something, what is happened, we got underfitted to what is the reality that's less predictable. It's like I want to increase the grades of a school. What's like the best way? I make a test and I give it preview so of doing the test, what is the real test they're gonna do, and then so they overfit for what's gonna be the answer that's gonna so be in the test, because I give something that's it's like equal from what so I'm gonna give as a final test, and they overfit from that. But what's like learnings that they got from the specific matter, they got underfitted from what they will face in reality. And then so a problem by me getting so obsessively searching for optimizing a metric and not focusing in what is the real value of what I offer. Another cascade effect. One flawed metric poisons the entire system. Example, employees focus on logging hours, not results, to impress managers, creating a culture of presenteeism over productivity. That's the thing that we see a lot. What are like real world examples? We have one, 2% inflation targeting. We talk about this, we're targeting a percentage of inflation. Central banks treat this as healthy, but rigid pursuit can fuel credit bubbles or justify austerity. We have seen this a lot. Social media engagement platforms prioritize screening time as success. Results? What is the result of that? Well, algorithms promote outrage content over quality. We have as well in the ACG industry, so economical sustainable growth. Companies optimize sustainability reports to greenwashing rather than be green. Other thing, sometimes it's better to appear than be. Why better so? I think it's everyone's got it. False security, politicians, the CEOs use metrics as shields against critical thinking, but we hit our target. So what they say a lot, but in reality they're not focusing in the real problem. They're kind of using this type of metrics to just protect. It's like, oh, I have achieved this because this is important, but it's the main type of thing that you should looking for. Stiffed innovation as well. Employees avoid creative risks when KPI indicators reward only predictable outcomes. Trust collapse. When metrics lie, society loses faith in institutions. We have examples, the employment states ignoring underemployed workers. But then so how to beat this? How to beat this law? We have one type of policy that you can use: multiply metrics. Never trust one indicator. Combine GDP with happiness, with inequality and sustainability. Kinda got the how a system is performing, not just one specific metric, but with other metrics, and when someone's that they can even be they complement each other. So like I can give the GDP as important, but a part of GDP is like the expenditures. Probably other than just looking for GDP, probably as well I have to look if the people happy, because what values if the economy is growing but if the people are not happier? What's the essence of economy? Is making the people get their values, the things at lower cost as possible. Is like the main type of thing that for why economy exists. So combine GDP with happiness, not just looking for GDP to understand the performance of the specific country. Blind audit, so verify data through independent third parties, obviously one of the best ways. Reward intentions, not just outcomes. Praise ethical process, not just numbers. And embrace complexity, accept that some values like well-being can't be spreadsheeted. So I expect these videos make you gain insight, as make you so be confident enough to subscribe this channel and put a like in this video if you have liked, obviously, and see other videos that you may can trigger your interest to gain you so more insights. With that much more to say, thank you and see you in the next one.